Hey there gardeners, Chris here from Garden Steading. We've had some rain, which is amazing, and a lot of my garden beds are actually quite damp now, which is just what we want. And I have been watering this spring because we've had quite a long dry spell. Now, the problem is I came out this morning and I thought I would check all of the different beds to see what the moisture is like. We're using sugarcane mulch, and one of the problems, honestly, is that the soil under the sugarcane can dry out quite significantly. Now, in a lot of our beds, which are doing better, which have heavier plant cover, or where I've worked the soil a bit more frequently or a bit more recently, they're actually nice and damp. They've got good moisture in that soil from that rain. And we've probably had 25 mils of rain, so about an inch for the Imperial Stormtroopers. And just as a kind of a reference point, I've come over to this bed. Now this bed and the one beside me are always problem beds. They're under this jacaranda tree. They dry out a lot more easily, and I don't think they get as much rain because the jacaranda is preventing it all from kind of landing down in those beds. And so when I came and had a look at the soil here, it is absolutely dry as a bone. And so what I've done, we're meant to have more rain today. I'm gonna have to double check that weather forecast and see if that's still true, but I've pulled all of that mulch back from the bare soil. And so hopefully with a bit of rain, it will fall on the bare soil and it'll start to sink in. Obviously, once soil gets hydrophobic, that is quite a problem. And one of the things I'm gonna need to do here, really for all my garden beds, is be really careful of this issue. But I also need to see whether things like those water crystals and things like that they recommend putting into your garden beds and your soil work, and whether there's a cost-effective solution for me to do that, because the hydrophobic side of things is a real problem. Like we've got some, I think they're golden squash. Yeah, I'd have to double check that. Growing in this garden bed, we've got a little capsicum. We've got our gooseberry, which has just absolutely struggled for years, and it's no doubt because this bed is just so dry. Now, our pineapple sage over the back here has done exceptionally well. It doesn't mind these dry conditions, but we do have a problem here. And the same on that bed behind me, because that's got our nice overwintered capsicums, which I'd really like to do better, but they're struggling as well. And I've given them some fertilizer, but it's obviously a moisture issue. So what am I gonna do? Even though it's been raining, thankfully, I think our water tanks actually might be full. And so one of the problems we have at the moment is we don't have a lot of water storage, but when it rains, it fills up. So double-edged sword. For long-term drought, that's going to be a problem, and that's something we're looking at fixing, but that's an expensive exercise. But I've got water here, and I've got a little bit of sea salt in it and a little bit of fertilizer, because even though I have fertilized these areas, it's pretty clear if the water's not getting into the soil, neither is the fertilizer. The only other thing I've done is I've gotten a little garden fork, and I've just slightly messed up the surface of the soil and just kind of stabbed it in, given it a little wiggle around. And I know people who are really into the no dig side of things are going to be like, no, you can't do that, it's going to affect all the, micro whatever. The problem is when it's this dry, it's pretty clear we don't have a healthy soil environment, and so we can take some more drastic measures. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour these in, and then we're going to hope for more rain today, but by dragging that mulch back and getting this in, and I'll probably put the mulch back across tomorrow when it's meant to be dry, that should theoretically get our soil a little bit better. And I'm hoping the sea salt and the little bit of liquid fertilizer, a little bit of a mixture, will actually help this soil hold a little bit more moisture. Will it work? I'm not really sure, but we've got to give it a try because we need these beds a little bit more productive and a little bit healthier, obviously, for all the plants in it. Now just having a look, I mean, it's still super hydrophobic, and I'm seeing some roots there that are obviously from our pineapple sage. So it's by no means a really good solution, and maybe after I put this stuff down, probably what I should have done in hindsight is I should have gotten the mulch off these beds yesterday before we had all the rain. That would have been a smarter move. But unfortunately I was too busy to do that. And then what I should have done is I should have hosed, and then I should have put on this mixture of sea soil and fertilizer. So that way the fertilizer is kind of at the top and it isn't just disappearing as it rains and as we maybe give it a bit of a hose. Because I think that's the other thing. I'm probably going to have to give these a little bit of a hose as well, to really try and get that water sucked up by the soil, because it's still not great. It's really not great. We've had some grass parrots today, which has been really exciting. We don't see them that much because they get chased away by the other birds, like the butcher bird and the native miners. But yeah, I'm going to go grab some more water, and we're going to do the other garden bed there, which is perhaps even more important because it's got a productive capsicum in it. And then we'll be done with this particular job for this morning. The thing to keep in mind is with this kind of heavier layer of mulch, because it gets really hot here and it might be dry for another extended period, if you can get the ground really nice and moist under the mulch, it'll maintain that with a little bit of effort, with a little bit of watering. And that's why the next step, which I need to get onto hopefully before summer, so in the next 5 weeks, is, or actually I think it's in the next 4 weeks now, is I need to get some probably dripper line or something like that in under my mulch so I can water and it can go directly into the soil and stop that hydrophobic kind of process starting. And yeah, hopefully that will actually solve a lot of these issues, but we'll have to see how we go. And just as a little tip, this is actually our shower bucket. And when we turn the shower on and we start the water running, obviously it's cold for quite a while just because of where the shower is in our house. And this fills up after a couple of days. It's only a small little bucket and it fills up with water, and then we've got a nice little reservoir of water that we can bring out into the garden. We've also got just some little glass jugs that we use in the kitchen so that as we start getting the water running, if we can't fill up the coffee machine reservoir or something like that, we're not wasting almost any water at all. So I feel like those are also great little solutions for giving your pot plants, your garden beds and stuff like that a nice little addition of water, which again should help prevent these problems. But I need to go get some more